morning, guys. I just lost a nice fish. I mean, it was nice. First thing this morning. On the jig in the same area. Same area where I caught my first fish yesterday on the jig. Just down a little ways from it. I flew up to just some little vine-like looking stick-ups in the water. He bit it the first time. I missed him, threw right back in there. Got him. Very nice fish. Followed him all the way to the boat. I'm sick, guys. I feel like I'm gonna throw up. That was a nice fish. Right where I just casted. Up there. God, right here, man. Oh my goodness. It was nice. I mean, it was probably 18 at least. I mean, it was a nice fish. I fought it all the way to the boat. Went to lip it. And he got off right as I was reaching to lip it. Right here. Man, I'm sick. Seriously feel like I'm gonna throw up. It's my fault. I should have used the net. A couple of things I did wrong. I should have used the net and I didn't. Then instead of holding my rod out and just lipping him, I grabbed the line and then reached for him. And when I was holding the line, that's when I lost him. I'm sick. That's alright, that's a good sign though. Let's regroup. It's tournament morning, Cape Fear River. Let's go get it. I know the pattern. It's fishies, log jams. The jig or Texas rig. Fish some grass when you find it. Man. God, that was a nice fish. Oh, man. Jig in the face. so, but it's about 9 o'clock. It's the first fish since that giant I lost this morning. That's literally been all I can think about ever since. Yeah, he'll score. He's tiny, but he'll score. Man, it's I'm literally been nauseous ever since that. Like, seriously, nauseous. Like, it was a great fish. But I'm gonna take this 10-incher. I'm gonna rock on. Quit. Goes. Enough. 10.5. So yeah. Alright, I need that to get my day on track. Man. First thing this morning, got here a little late, so I was about 10 minutes late getting put in and everything. Made a run to the spot where I caught my first fish yesterday. And hooked into a giant. Got it right here at the boat. I tried lipping it instead of using the net, instead of just using the rod and lipping it like I should have. I grabbed the line and then reached for it. That's all she wrote after that and got off. And that's literally all I've been able to think about since. Literally sick to my stomach. I thought I was gonna throw up after losing that fish. But I got that little one. At least it'll score. I'm gonna fish down here. Caught one down here yesterday. So, alright, I need that to get my day in gear. That was easily a 4.5 pounder, 5 pounder that I lost. I mean, easy 18 inches, maybe 19, 20, maybe bigger. It was a stud. of a river fish. I feel like if I would have landed that, I'd have been off and running. But as fishing, I blame myself. Should have used my net or lifting the right way. Too excited. I paid for it. But it's alright. Maybe this little 10.5 incher will turn my day around. Let's see. Just had one on the swim jig. Came off. Man, felt like a good one. I didn't see that one, but felt good. Out here where I caught one on a swim jig yesterday. Throwing it out around this grass. Felt like a good one. Man, so I'm gaining confidence in a couple new techniques for me. Flipping a jig and swimming a jig. Not yesterday's the first time I caught a fish on either of them. And today I lost a fish, both of them. So God, that felt like a good fish on here too. Just trial and error of new techniques to you. Good gracious, man. I wish the trial and error, well, if the trial and error would have been yesterday, I wouldn't have used these techniques today in the tournament. But that fish this morning on the jig I saw, that was a good fish. That one's gonna haunt me for a while. And this one felt like a good fish. Alright, the gear for today, it's not the same jig as yesterday. I broke that one off yesterday and lost it. Went and got this one last night. It's a Strike King Hack Attack, I think, jig. Green pumpkin, brown. I went with a blue trailer. It's also what I had yesterday. Yesterday was also a Strike King. That was a Strike King heavy duty jig that I lost yesterday. Black and brown with a little yellow on the belly. That had a black and blue net bait chunk crawl on it. Like I said, this is a Strike King Hack Attack jig, 3/8 ounce, green pumpkin brown. This is a black and blue net bait packer crawl, I think they call it. Fish were not caught on this rod. I just tied the jig on this rod because just back there they were caught on my new, I mean, I got it for Christmas this year, so 6 months old, Dobbin's Fury. I had the jig in a tree. It was hung up. I wasn't sure if it was a bite. Hook sets are free, so I set the hook. The jig fired out and had the rod tip up from setting the hook. The jig fired out, smashed right into the rod, and cracked the rod right there. So this day keeps getting better. Hopefully Dobbins has some kind of warranty. It's just an expensive rod. But anyways, still just one little guy. Still sick about the 2 fish I lost, especially the one this morning on the jig. So the swim jig, I had one on loss. I caught one yesterday. Didn't know what it was. I found out last night. It's the V&M, I think, Cliff Pace swim jig, the pacemaker. I think this is 3/8 ounce also, in all white. Another piece of gear I forgot to talk about is the RoboHawk foam tether. No more dropping foams in the lake, which I've done. They've got home trough tethers, I think, catchboard tethers, I should say. Other stuff, check them out. They're a CKA sponsor, so thanks RoboHawk for supporting us. Get your foam tether so you don't lose it away. God! A gar just took my jig. Did you see that? This day is something else. Probably a, I don't know, 16, 18-inch gar. Hammered my jig and took it with him. Telling you, if I'd have landed that giant this morning, this day would be completely different. Because I lost it, this day has gone off the rails. I'm telling you. Lost a giant, lost another, cracked an expensive rod, lost a like 12-hour-old jig. Fishing, baby. Alright guys, end of the day. It's an interesting day. Really, I mean, kind of brutal in some aspects, but oddly enough it was a very fun day. I only landed the one little 10.5 inch. That's the only scoreable fish I got. Back at the scene of the crime from this morning. Lost a very nice fish. I mean, that one, when you lose a really good fish, it's like when you when and where and what you caught a really good fish on, you know, a really solid, you know, big fish. You remember exactly where you caught it, exactly the little stick you caught it off of. You remember, you know, the weather. You remember what bait you caught it on. You never forget that stuff. On the flip side, you also never forget ones that got away. I can remember Falls Lake flipping a little Texas red crawl in trees. Hooked a giant, it got off. I remember Jordan Lake, the back of Farrington Creek, that creek to the right from the boat ramp, very back, flipping those bushes back there. Line swam off, set the hook, came up, spit it, giant. This one will stick with me too. I threw the jig in there, working it. Right when I went to like reel it back in for another cast, it kind of jumped a little in a swirl at the top of the water. So I pitched right back, threw a little stick up, worked it 2 or 3 times. Don't. I didn't even have my camera out of the bag, set the hook. I mean, good fight, drag. I mean, it was fighting like crazy. Sat down. You know, I usually, if I'm lipping them, the best way to do that, which I didn't do, but the best way to do it is to hold your rod out here so that if the bass runs, you can still control the rod. So you hold the rod out like this, keeps the bass pegged. What I did this, but I didn't have quite enough line. The bass wasn't quite close enough. I couldn't reach it. So what I did was grab the line, set this down. I don't remember I don't think I switched hands with the line. Maybe I did, I can't remember. But I mean, it was right there, big bucket mouth just staring at me. And as soon as I reached to lip it, she jumped and gone. But like I said, kind of a disastrous day, but it was still fun. Lost that one. Caught the tiny one. Just a little ways past the one I caught, throwing the swim jig around the grass. Had one on. Fought it for 5-6 seconds and it got off. Never saw that one. And like I said, I cracked a outstanding Dobbins rod. The jig came flying back at me like a bullet, and I mean, right here, how wide would you say that is? Maybe 1/4 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch wide. I mean, out of all the space and air in this world, it hit that one, drilled right into the rod, square, cracked it. Hooked into that gar, lost my jig. So it was that kind of day, but oddly enough, it was fun. But I'm gonna get out of here. It's hot, tired, hungry, and defeated. So next up, next month, is we have a choice of 2 lakes. It's Reese Lake, and Lucas Lake. I think they're in Burlington. I'm not 100% sure. I'm gonna have to look those up. Never been to either of them, so I'll try to pre-fish both of those, so stay tuned for that. Getting close to the national championship in October down at Guntersville. Really excited for that. So thanks for tuning in. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. Check me out on Instagram at Tar Heel Yak Daddy. If you'd like to purchase something from one of my sponsors, Woo Tungsten Phantom Outdoors, in the description box below I have the website linked, as well as a discount code you can use for being a follower of mine. Get a discount off your order, and see you guys next time. Blast off.